What's happening?
What's up, guys? Malt review time, baby.
Boom, boom, boom.
Edradour. Woo!
I think we've done only one Edradour review before.
I think so. I think just one, yeah.
If you haven't experienced the sherry goodness of Edradour, you're honestly truly missing out. They are offering, if you like rich sherry, high quality sherry, very, very rich. You have to pay attention to play things like Edradour and Tamdu. We all know Macallan, we all know Glendronach, we all know Glenallachie. We know those things, but not everyone knows Edradour.
It's still somehow under the radar.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, very under the radar.
Top sherry house.
Here's a 22-year-old from Edradour. I think the first 8 years or 7 years it was matured in.
Yeah.
First 8 years it was matured in bourbon, and then the rest of the time in Oloroso Sherry.
Yes, sir.
I'll read the back. Distilled in February 1999, it was initially in refill EX bourbon hogsheads. Then it was re-racked into fresh Oloroso Sherry butts on the 25th of April 2007, and this yielded 1,331 bottles. Only about just over 1,300 bottles. They are releasing these on the yearly, this style of Edradour, where it starts a little bit in bourbon and then it goes sherry. I would not call this a finished. It's certainly not a finished if it's going 8 years here and then more than 8 years into sherry, 22-year-old whiskey here. So it's bottled at natural cask strength at 55.8% ABV. So an absolute sherry monster, truly something to experience. Here's our review. Wow. Sticky toffee.
Dirty.
Burnt toffee. Chocolate. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate. Again, both. Oloroso spices. Like, you don't really get bourbon, but I think the bourbon maturation going first, it adds this layer of elegance. If you left it perhaps 22 years just straight in the Oloroso, maybe it would be too much.
Right.
And by doing a refill bourbon for a little bit before you go the heavy sherry route, the high quality sherry route, it adds this depth to the whiskey without it being just bone dry sherry, right?
Perhaps, yeah.
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 And Edradour has access to some unbelievable sherry casks.
Right. Yeah. Perhaps not as dry. Yeah. Not as overly oaky. We're still getting that crazy sherry blast.
I mean, I'm getting
Still a sherry monster.
Yeah, this is like blended dates in a shake with caramel, butter, vanilla, butterscotch.
It's a Mad Greek date shake.
Yes. Mad Greek's a restaurant, by the way, if you've ever driven to Vegas.
On the way to Vegas.
But I think what I love so much about this is that burnt toffee note.
Yeah.
We talk about it in the Glen Turrets that we really like.
Yeah.
That burnt toffee. It reminds me of like some, it has elements of these like old school Macallans that have that burnt toffee, moldy kind of sherry. We use the words vinaigrette. We use like moldy sherry, very, very rich and just luscious. You really have to like sherry though. If you don't like sherry,
it's a sherry monster.
Yeah.
You have to be a sherry head.
Yeah, absolute monster.
Do it. And that's
lots
why
of chocolate too.
Most Edradour heads are heavy sherry heads. No, it's heavy, and you're getting heavy Oloroso spices, but very candied. Nutmeg, clove, cinnamon,
Big time.
Candied. But yeah, burnt toffee, some light fruits, apple, apricot, vanilla, but burnt toffee, like boiled.
But I even get like, is burnt strawberry a note? Because I get dark berry fruits, but they're like so moldy and
Yes.
overly cooked.
Right. Yes.
You overcooked it, you burnt it. I don't know what you did with it. Yeah.
Everything's there, but it's burnt. Yes.
It's got this barbecue-esque, like barbecue sauce almost thing going on with it as well. Like I always use like burnt bacon, but it's not that. It's almost like burnt barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there. Yeah, like tomato molasses, like what's in barbecue sauce.
Yes, very molassesy.
And that vinegar quality, vinaigrette.
Yes,
Big
yes.
time. Yeah, some hazelnut, some light espresso.
Just, if you like sherry, it's wow. It's really, really good. Wow. It's an experience.
Wow.
Valid.
Cheers. Bottom line, if you're a sherry head, dig into Edradour.
Sticky. Sticky, icky.
Ooh, wee.
Sticky toffee, rich chocolate, molasses, cinnamon, nutmeg.
Where do they get their cask from, man?
Yeah. Sandalwood, leather.
Wow.
Espresso, oak, sweet oak, sweet tobacco style sandalwood oak. Leathery.
To your point, yeah,
Chocolatey.
like the oak level, if they had gone a full 22 years, might have been too much.
Mike,
Maybe that's why the bourbon.
I know I've enjoyed
First
this
8 years of
whiskey
bourbon.
a few more times than you have,
Yes.
and this whiskey takes water.
Yes.
It's like a magician.
Let it
So
swim,
I just
bro.
poured a bunch of water in yours and watch what that does.
Let it swim, bro.
let it breathe for a minute with that amount of water.
Let it
And it's
swim.
gonna get fruity. Strawberries are gonna come out, raspberries are gonna come out, but that toffee, chocolate, all that goodness stays. And the bourbon, the 8 years of bourbon doesn't necessarily comes through a little bit.
Got it.
But
yeah,
it
but it's in
really
general, like
it really takes water well. You bring this down to 48 with water,
yeah.
it becomes
But yeah, just saying, I was getting that heavy oak. Where if they had done the full thing,
Yeah.
in the fresh
Yeah.
Oloroso, it might have been too much.
oh, it would have.
That's the reason why.
Yeah.
Because it's a sherry bomb, sherry monster, but perfect amount of oak.
Yeah. Now, wait till you try the palate. I know you've had it before, but wait till you try the palate with more water, because I've really analyzed this whiskey with how much water should be put in, etc.
Of course.
Let's try it.
At least on nose with water, it's all red fruits now. It's
And
all red berries now.
And on the palate, the oak becomes so much more luscious, and it becomes one of those things where it's so integrated with the palate and the fruits. But those dark dessert, toffee, caramel, leather, sandalwood, incense, molasses, caramelly goodness, that just balances out so much better. I really think this whiskey improves by 1.5 points with water. Try it. Tell me what you think.
Let's do it.
Do they have tasting notes on this thing? Oh, they do. On here it says sugared almonds, toffee, raisins, nutmeg spice from Oloroso Cask, complements subtle traces of coconut, apple, vanilla from the initial EX bourbon cask maturation. I like our tasting notes.
That's the fruitiest bastard ever, man.
It's good. How good does it get with water?
Much
It gets
better.
it gets really good.
swims very well.
Look, you gotta really be in a sherry mood to have this whiskey.
Yes,
but
it's
with,
heavy. It's still
but
heavy.
it's still heavy. But with water, I think
Yes.
it could please anyone.
Yes.
I think without water, you got to be a sherry monster head.
Right.
And but lowering it closer to 50%, it can. I don't see who this wouldn't please.
No.
Unless you're only in a bourbon matured whiskey.
Right.
Yep.
Anybody who loves luscious, juicy fruits will like this whiskey.
Well, sticky toffee. I can't get over sticky
Yes.
sticky
No, you're right.
toffee,
Very
rich
sticky
chocolate.
toffee. Pralines.
Yes, pralines.
Almond pecan pralines.
Yes.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
That's stickiness. Absolutely.
It's all sticky, molassesy, sticky, caramelly, sticky.
The first time you said real sticky.
Yeah.
You said it first time. Man.
Yeah. This is Snoop Dogg's whiskey right here.
Snoop Dogg's favorite whiskey.
This is Snoop Dogg's favorite whiskey.
Yes, sir.
Did you try it with water?
Yeah.
Dude, you could, like, I'm telling you something.
Awesome.
You could keep adding water to this, and it's nuts. It doesn't stop. It's almost like ABV wise, it should be at like 43 by now with the amount of water I put in, but it's gonna drink like it's 50. I put a lot of water in. I put like 12, 13 drops of water. And this brings out fruit, brightness. Yeah.
And still heavy ABV.
Yeah, it's just, but
Like-
the ABV is always so not ethanol-y. Zero
Right.
ethanol, by the way.
But like this, it's like you're adding water and the ABV is not going down. That's how thick and rich and concentrated it is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's nasty, sticky, man.
It's dirty.
Yeah.
Edradour, baby.
Yeah. Well, not every
No,
Edradour is
it's-
like this, but
It's bomb. No, it's bomb, man.
there's a release. I don't know if this one's still available, but there's the next following 2022 release is out, and I don't know if it's 21 or 22 years old, but it's a similar style maturation, and it goes for $300. I've never seen it in the U.S. It's a UK release, and it is available online. $300. I know $300 is a lot of money, but it's 22 years old. It's cask strength. What if Macallan was 22 years old and cask strength? That's
And-
$4,000 or $5,000.
And Macallan is not as sticky, icky.
Not, I mean, it's not as sticky icky these days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Can you make the argument that it's too sherry? You can. You really have to like sherry. But we are sometimes in the mood for a heavy sherry, sometimes in the mood for just refill bourbon, sometimes in the mood for balance. There's the spectrum of everything. And I just want to keep highlighting the fact that this is spectacular in the heavy sherry sense.
But you see why they did the first 8 years in bourbon.
Yes, they
Yeah.
needed it.
Yeah.
Genius.
Genius.
How good is it with water?
Amazing.
It becomes really, really good.
Nuts.
Nuts. Mike, I have to give it a 90.
It's okay. I'm almost 91. I'm gonna go with a 90.
I've ranked this
that
91.
It's like 90 and a half.
Yeah, I've ranked this 91 many times.
Yeah.
But when
It's not good.
on a certain night you get
not
to
good.
try Legends.
Yeah.
And when you and I are together and we're drinking the special stuff, things tend to rank a little bit lower sometimes.
Normally Legends.
Yeah. So what you have had recently will matter in your score. If you go and drink epic, and then drink something very, very, very good, naturally that very, very good might score a little bit less. So, but I've always been a 90 or 91 with this,
Right.
but I'm comfortable with the 90.
Yeah. So it's consistent.
You too?
Yes.
90.
Go 90. Phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. There you go. Grab yourself a bottle if you're a sherry head. I know most of you are. So Edradour, well aged. Trust me. Grab a bottle.
Edradour, baby.
Slange.
Sloan.